Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tom McGraw. Welcome to the DEX Show's show within a show within a show, which is to say it's one of the special editions of Reality Bytes, where the Reality Bytes team, in this case today, that's Tim, Dina, Sean, and myself, get to interrogate one of our fascinating Nexthink colleagues. And today, that's Paul Gentile, VP of Product Marketing. And we're going to be talking to Paul about Nexthink's latest foray into the fascinating world of AI, approximately. So, Paul, welcome to the DEX Show for the first time. Lovely to have you on. How are you doing today?
Excellent. And I'm thrilled to be here. Truly, I'm not just saying that because I'm with my colleagues. I really do mean that. This is exciting, and really looking forward to chit-chatting with all of you guys about these great developments and what else we might have in the hopper.
We are excited to have you on, Paul. And I just want to say, Paul has spontaneously mentioned DEX Show episode stuff to me in the office. You know, just like you actually listen, Paul, is the impression you've given me before, which I was very grateful and touched about.
There are no lies in those statements. I do religiously listen to the DEX Show. I have it plugged into my Spotify account as a favorite, and it's great windshield time for me on my long commute, depending on the day. So,
oh, man, love it. Well, it's great to have you on, mate. And look, since it is your first time and all, I guess a good place to start would be to invite you to just introduce yourself a little more broadly to our audience and tell them about what it is you do at Nexthink.
Excellent. Yes. Well, as you said earlier, I oversee product marketing here at Nexthink, and I always talk about product marketing covering three particular pillars. One, go-to-market strategies. So everything we've got going on from a packaging standpoint, what we need to do from an attack standpoint, and how we're going to be successful with our overarching go-to-market approach. Mm-hmm. Two, messaging and positioning. So everything related to what we're looking to tell from a story standpoint with our products, with our portfolio, and then also influencing things that I work hand in hand with you on, right, related to thought leadership. Mm-hmm. And then three, voice of customer. So much of the core of what product marketing is about is figuring out how to take different inputs from all different pockets of the organization, but certainly from external champions and from customers to understand what we need to do to develop products next, to improve our go-to-market strategies, but representing that inside the organization and then back out to folks externally as well.
Excellent. And, congratulations on Assist, because there's been a ton of buzz around it, and we're gonna dig into it momentarily. Before we get into the wider topic of AI and Nexthink at large, I'm interested to know, Paul, in your own personal life, in your life outside of work, have you had like the direct encounter with AI that's made you go, oh, this is a really big deal, or it's impressed itself upon you? And what was that encounter?
What a great question. And there's so many different ways. Well, first, I'll say it's my, artificial girlfriend. Sometimes my marriage is on the rocks, and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God! No. I was clutching my hair for a second.
That's a different show. That's a completely different show.
Yeah, exactly. No. All joking aside, I mean, the Reality Bytes is that there's so many different examples of AI in my personal life that it almost becomes, you don't even realize it. You don't even appreciate it as much as we actually should. But a couple quick examples for me, and because my life is so busy and we rely on all different types of sort of funding and financial aspects, is banking, right? Banking apps. I use my Bank of America app literally every single day for different pieces that we're doing for, our kids don't really carry cash anymore. So we have what we call a green light card, shifting money over to them. But that's not necessarily AI, but banking for how it protects what we've got going on and how we get alerts, notifications when there is some sort of suspicious activity. Mm-hmm. That's a great example that has really influenced and helped protect my family that does oftentimes go unappreciated, but it is a great example of how we're leveraging and utilizing this in a really, really meaningful way to protect what we've got going on within our family, what we've got going on within our society.
Great show.
The other one that I'll bring up is, some of the smart home devices that we have. We've got Nest from what we have going on from a HVAC standpoint, making sure it's reading how we want things to go and how it's adjusting things on the fly based on what my kids, what my wife are telling it to do ahead of time. And then it also influences other digital voice assistants, which is not, I don't want it to be too much of a precursor into what we're going to talk about with Nexthink Assist, but we use those every single day, from Siri to Alexa, different pieces, as I just mentioned, from a Google Home standpoint. Those are all elements that I and my family leverage every single day away from work that are truly influencing and making our lives that much easier, that much better.
Nice.
So, Paul, great to have you on the show. Paul and I work together almost on a daily basis. It's really cool to have you here. And as efficient as I like to be, and Paul's going to be taking on my sales enablement team and that role. So thankful for you to take that on, Paul, and you're gonna kill it and free me up to do more of the things like this. But I love being efficient. We have a meeting on the calendar later. Can we bang out some of those agenda items here? Do you mind?
Probably not a bad idea. That's probably not a bad idea, Tim.
No, all joking aside, we've on AI. We've been talking about AI since the 60s, right? You can go back to Star Trek and see them talking to a computer and it telling people what they need to know. But it really seems like it's exploded onto the stage just in the last 2 to 3 months. It's gotten so much visibility. But let's start by defining what Nexthink Assist is and isn't. What's it all about and what makes it special?
Great question. It's true, and you're right. Much of the explosion that has happened, or at least the reverb that has made it, that has given AI such attention, is kind of anchored behind ChatGPT. And while I don't want to sort of make that too overblown on what that is actually doing, it is sort of making it much more apparent to everybody on how it is going to change things for everyone across the board. And that's really, on some level, what Nexthink Assist is doing. And it's literally our first truly AI-powered virtual assistant, not only for our organization, but for this particular space at large. And at a very, very core level, it's simply allowing IT teams to address all different types of common and custom troubleshooting scenarios and instantly delivering value to them through natural language. And that's the key piece. By asking it a question, not only are we leveraging one particular AI engine, but multiple AI engines to produce and retrieve all different types of results that make the use of Nexthink that much more simple, that much more easy, because it's producing those results which normally might have required someone to write a particular type of query, to do some additional investigations. Nexthink Assist is doing that for them based on one particular chat type AI engine, and then also AI engines that are built into our backend that allow it to retrieve that information through just mountains and piles of information and data that normally somebody would have to go searching for. We're doing all of that for them inside of Nexthink Assist.
Yeah, some of the demos that I've seen, the early demos, it's really cool to watch somebody ask something like, hey, are people having a problem with a blue screen today? And it come back immediately and say, yes, there are 312 people. Is it related to one specific area? Yes, they're all in London. So it's very cool to see that kind of query, natural query language just produce immediate results. It's really slick.
Yeah, completely agree, Tim, and that's why it's so exciting, right? It's literally leveraging large language models and putting them in the hands of our customers, which normally would require, like we just mentioned a moment ago, somebody to search or do that type of querying on their own. But we're leveraging all of those large language models and putting that in the hands of them to make their lives that much simpler when utilizing Nexthink and the platform and portfolio.
And it's really neat to see how mainstream companies are integrating AI technologies like this. I saw a video on what Adobe is doing with Photoshop, and starting with just a kid sitting on a rock, you can say add a pond or a lake to this picture, and it adds an actual photo of a lake, and it looks like it was taken there. Put a fishing rod in the kid's hand. It's amazing what AI can do with applications that we've had around for such a long time. what do you believe is the connection? So Nexthink has we're a little more rooted to this technology, right? We've been doing this for a while. What do you think the connection is? We don't quite go back to the 60s, but how do you connect our past through kind of our timeline of history up to this point in terms of this kind of capability?
No, it's such a great sort of, like you said, sort of connective tissue based on the roots of what Nexthink is about. And truly, one of the reasons that I ended up joining Nexthink over a year ago is because when I saw a demo of the product, well before Nexthink Assist, right? But I just saw the core product from a demo standpoint. When I was going through the interview process, I had this light bulb moment. It seemed like it was magic on what was happening because of what it's opening up from a visibility standpoint to IT teams that might normally be working in a particular silo or not know how to have those connective tissue pieces relating to different pieces that would make digital employee experience or making their employees that much more productive, that much more successful. When I saw that, it was that light bulb moment that I mentioned ago. And I said, wow, this is such a cutting edge type of technology. How can I get in here? How can I make sure that I'm leveraging it for my own career, but also for my own learning? That because it is that type of technology that is just carving a new path on how IT teams should be holding their organizations and themselves to a different standard of excellence. And now with what we're able to do, not only previously with the visibility that Nexthink allows for those IT teams, but to make their path that much simpler, make the user experience combined with elements of user interface because of what the natural language models ultimately unlock. That is such a great path forward, and that is painting a picture for how we can help make those IT teams that much more productive, that much more successful, and move that much faster. So that ultimately our vision, what really Nexthink is about for me, is to provide a beautiful digital experience for every employee, no matter where they are on the globe. We're able to achieve that because of the technology and what we're putting in the hands of those IT teams. And if we can put that in the hands of them to make it that much more fast,
right,
make it that much more available, make it easier for them to use than ever before, that's an amazing journey. That's a tremendous story that we can tell that sort of is rooted in the original vision of what Nexthink is about, but going to the sort of absolute next level.
Yeah, I had that same light bulb moment, but mine was as a customer sitting at the Hartford when we saw this. It was, oh my God, we've been waiting for this for 30 years, literally. And we called our project Edison, and we used the light bulb on every piece of communication we had.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was the light bulb is an enduring analogy for me and this technology, and just kind of thinking about where it goes next. It's taking that light bulb and turning it into a laser-like precision, and really sharpening that point of light to exactly what you need to see. So let's look at the future, right? Rather than our history and our past leading to now, you hinted at it at the top of the show. What's in the hopper? Where do you see AI advancing, or what additional capabilities do you see us being able to leverage down the road?
Yeah, a couple different pieces on where the vision is for Nexthink Assist. One, right, some of the proficiency that's required for engineers and those that are actual practitioners of Nexthink is to get onboarded as quickly as possible and to leverage different help tutorials that we have. Well, what if, and this is where we're headed, right, to make product onboarding of Nexthink that much more simple, to give them built-in self-help components that would help them understand all the different nuances to achieve additional value, not just the core value, but the additional or sort of exemplary value that might come from some of the advanced features inside of our product and platform. That's where Nexthink Assist could come into play too. By simply asking it a question and then pointing out to them, here's how you would do this, and here's where you would need to go in order to get more experience with this particular product and this particular pocket of the product and platform. Two, certainly generating all sorts of employee engagement surveys. Right now, that's required for somebody to manually input those in. But imagine a world where, based on the data that's being pulled from those large language models, for Nexthink Assist to be able to suggest to somebody, here's something you might want to dig in on, and I'm going to automatically and magically generate that employee engagement survey for you and push it out so that you don't even have to think about what you need to do next. See what I did there? Nexthink. Not have to think about something next, right? There you go. There's also some of the there's some rooted in some of our history as well.
You're a natural at this marketing thing, Paul. You should think about it.
I've been told that before. Tim. I appreciate that. No, but truly being able to generate those types of surveys automatically on their own is something that would be just incredible to again make the lives of those IT practitioners or those Nexthink practitioners that much more simple, that much more quick. Then there's also everything that comes with the actual power of our core value prop that's available to people today, but helping them really sort of use advanced level features, or actually not forcing them to have to grind on some of the advanced level features that they have to do today, such as building custom dashboards, creating system alerts. Nexthink Assist vision and what we're going to be moving forward with is being able to do that all behind the scenes based on the technology and the AI models that we have inside there, so that those IT teams have it that much more available to them and that much more prevalent, readily available. And then, of course, DEX, right? Digital employee experience, analyzing the results, right? Nexthink Assist, we want to make sure that we've got opportunities for additional analysis to happen. And Nexthink Assist will have that type of that type of not experience, but that type of knowledge to be able to help IT teams analyze the results in a more meaningful way.
Hey, Paul. No, it's very beautiful how you're explaining all the different kinds of examples. But can you give us one specific or a couple of specific examples on what Assist users can do with the tool now, and walk us through like an engagement?
The core example right now, and Tim had kind of referenced it earlier in some of the demos that he had seen, but imagine this. You're inside the Nexthink tool. You're inside of Nexthink Infinity, right? And you as a practitioner, Dina, say to Nexthink Assist, show me all the execution crashes associated with Outlook that are part of our executive team's devices. Nexthink Assist immediately spits something back and says, here's a list of all of those Outlook crashes on the executive team's devices, and here's where it's crashing most, and here's what the types of devices that it has that is crashing most over the last 14 days. So you immediately get information that would normally require you to query around with specific parameters, but Nexthink Assist is doing that all for that particular user. Then you can actually go a step further, right? And the IT team or Dina, you could ask Nexthink Assist, okay, thank you for that information, but what is the type of agent or some type of a component that is influencing or creating those crashes of Outlook? Because it's not always a direct one-to-one. Sometimes the correlation component, that light bulb moment that we talked about before, is something that the actual practitioner would have to start to stitch together. But you're able to ask Nexthink Assist what would help them go further with that and what might be installed that would be causing those crashes. Nexthink Assist then responds and says, here's a list of these .exes that are causing or that are installed on each one of those executive committee team members' devices that is likely causing that particular issue. It's version 6.7, and it's installed on 4 of those particular machines, and that is the root cause of what's happening to those devices over the last 14 days. So you can see why taking the sort of, even some of the thought process and the investigative aspects that would be required by the actual IT teams, making them that much more proficient, that much more quick, because we're doing a lot of that work for them based on those large language model processing components that we talked about earlier that are automatically built into the technology. Does that help?
Yeah, that is amazing. I'm just visualizing what you were trying to describe earlier. And if we're able to also say, Nexthink Assist, can you please create a dashboard or a couple of alerts based off of that information? It will be great because it will save up a lot of time for us to not repeat asking
and I know
those
it,
kind
and
of
I know in your
questions
job
right away.
that would make your life a lot easier too, wouldn't it, Dina?
Yes, yeah, a lot easier.
Well, let me also say one other thing. Those other custom dashboards and those alerts pieces, that's part of the vision, right? There's still a tremendous amount of engineering work and some research and development work that would be required in order for us to get there. But that is absolutely the direction that we are committed to heading that we are committed to going towards. But as with anything, specifically with this type of AI technology, right, it's going to take several different iterations in order for us to get there. But could not be more proud and more excited about what we've put out there today, not only to be first to market, but to sort of put a stake in the ground and say, this is where this industry needs to go. This is where the technology, how the technology should start to shape everything we've got going on within the digital employee experience realm, but also influencing surrounding pockets, surrounding categories as well, because it's the first step towards really advancing things and gets to the question you just mentioned.
So the follow-up question is, how do you expect this kind of innovation to change IT over the next couple of years?
It will influence things in two particular ways, in my not so humble opinion. One, it will make the IT practitioners' lives that much more simple. And I've referenced it a couple times throughout the conversation, right? But part of what we're committed to is making sure that IT teams have the ability to be as productive and to be as proficient as they possibly can. Not only by leveraging the core technology and our core value prop that we talked about earlier, and what Nexthink was sort of spawned out of, right? But making sure that inside of using our technology, that the user experience for those practitioners, for those IT teams, is that much more simple. That's the single reason why I'm most excited about what Nexthink Assist does today. Because the idea of making the tool easier for practitioners takes a huge leap with what we've already launched. It's going to take another leap by making it that much more simple for practitioners. And the idea of IT teams going away is not relevant here. I want to point that out. We're trying to make their lives easier, make the utilization of the tool easier and more accessible for them in different ways that they haven't even been able to dream of earlier, but making the user experience that much more simple because of what Nexthink does and what digital employee experience tools as a whole unlock. It requires a level of detail, a level of nuance, a level of training that is required to be successful. And this user experience component that Nexthink Assist is able to capitalize on and make that much more simple is going to change things moving forward over the next couple of years, no doubt. Two, I think it will absolutely make digital employee experience tools as a whole that much more prevalent. Digital employee experience is already on the rise. So many different statistics that we hear from Gartner, from Forrester, from our own research shows that these tools will be at a 50% clip of adoption from a strategy standpoint over the next 2 years for most enterprise organizations. But really making sure that it can be utilized and adopted at a faster pace because of the ease of use component and because of the chat capabilities and the large language model components that we talked about earlier, that will make the adoption of these types of tools spike even further and faster than before. And so that's really how I see it influencing things over the next couple of years. Faster adoption and easier utilization of the tools as a whole.
Very good. So, Paul, I know it's still kind of early days with Nexthink Assist, but what's the interest level been like so far? Are people kind of overwhelmed with it, or is there a real appetite to get to know the tool?
From an editing standpoint, the response has been really fantastic. There are a ton of existing customers that have said, thank you for jumping on board with what and riding the wave alongside of us, because we have responsibilities as IT teams to continue to stay on the bleeding edge of what's going on. And because we're so committed to and wedded to what Nexthink does, you all putting this at our fingertips is a really exciting and opportunistic way for us to explore what you have going on and where we would want to partner with you moving forward. There's been some early hand raisers because this was sort of our announcement to the public, and we've shown it through our early private technical preview partners on what they would want to see and where we're headed and where we're looking to go from a development standpoint. And as soon as we open this up, I believe it's going to be in June or July to some of those public. We already have a long waiting list of people that are saying, yes, please put me on that. I want to explore and utilize this as quickly as possible as soon as you make it available. And no doubt, as we have with so many of our customers, they're chomping at the bit to provide some feedback. On the flip side, as you asked, are people overwhelmed by it? Not necessarily our particular solution, because people that are Nexthink users tend to be just wowed every single day and say, I can't live without this particular tool. It really has changed the way that I look at my particular role and responsibility and what I'm providing back to the organization. But for AI as a whole, yeah, there's a little bit of skepticism. There's a little bit of cautious optimism related to what it can do. And it's also hard, even for me, even for all of us, to stay on track with how quickly things are moving and what is the right sort of balancing act for leveraging AI, but not going too far, but also not letting it consume so much of your day-to-day where it can, because there's so much information out there, where you end up losing some of your core productivity because you can spend your entire day 9-10 hours a day researching on different ways to advance things from an AI standpoint.
And that I totally understand. I don't think we want to be spending our days having conversations with the chat bot and waiting to respond. Yeah. But I guess I'm curious if we could just wrap up here, who's kind of the ideal Assist user if there is one? And then how can these folks get in touch with you?
Excellent question. Ideal Assist user is anyone that is a Nexthink practitioner. And what I mean by that is tends to be a end user computing engineer, somebody who's utilizing Nexthink's products and platform on a daily basis, that is leveraging things like our NQL, existing NQL queries, and trying to figure out how to determine some of the connection points behind things that they're seeing inside of Nexthink and wanting to go deeper. Those are the individuals that we're really looking to get signed up to leverage Nexthink Assist. Again, going back to that user experience and the simplification of those pieces, those are the folks that we really want to find out or identify from a hand raiser standpoint. And as soon as we do open this up, to make sure that they have opportunities to utilize the tool, give us feedback, but then to literally sort of uncover different types of patterns and just ultimately reduce the type of complexity that they face day to day inside of their particular role, and anything that would be associated with some of the more nuanced components or deep power user components of Nexthink as a whole. How would they get in touch with us? Very, very simple. Easily reach out to us through their solution consultant, through their sales rep, and then we will be opening up a form for anybody that would want to sort of be part of the early pilot run that we can make available through all of you after the fact. But that'll be the easiest way to get in touch with us.
Fantastic, Paul. And we'll be putting links in the show notes for anybody who wants to find out more about Assist or indeed make contact with us here at Nexthink. But listen, man, wonderful to have you on the show. Could talk to you about this one all day. I think you've once again really demonstrated just the depth of ingenuity and excitement and passion we really have here at Nexthink, particularly at the moment with all these amazing new products you and your team are helping to roll out. So thanks so much for coming on, and hope to have you on again sometime, mate.
I hope so too. It was a pleasure. This was really exciting, and I appreciate the opportunity. Rock and roll. And as I oftentimes say, onward and upward.
Let's go.
Thanks,
Rock
everybody.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, man.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how Nexthink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nexthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.